In terms of today, yes, we are going to cover value propositions, ensuring you know your value proposition to attract and grow your customer. This workshop will be very interactive. That is by design, because I believe it's really important to have conversation, to talk about various elements that exist within business, and then to grow together. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. My name is Sonya Barlow. I have worked in tech since 2015, and in 2020 decided to launch my own business. I have two businesses. One is a global not-for-profit social enterprise, LMF Network. We are one of the largest community forums which have organically grown within the UK ecosystem and have launched the largest mentoring program in the UK with over 600 participants for 6 months. Outside of that, I am a founder of a business and diversity consultancy, having designed and delivered over 200 business-based workshops in the UK, a core supplier for Digital Catapult, for iconic virtual events, as well as various different tech accelerators that exist within the UK. And I have a book coming out, which will come out in October, which is all around preparing yourself to entrepreneur and the various forums that we're going to go through. Hi, Rosanna. Lovely to meet you. You're a PM at an advertising agency. Keen to see how you can push the value proposition. Amazing. We want to know who you are, why you're here, and what you're up to. And then we're going to kick off and really start an interactive and informative webinar. If you don't know already, I'm letting you know 72% of businesses fail to deliver on business expectations. 72%. As you can only imagine, that's both quite high and insanely shocking. I think for me as a business owner, knowing that these stats exist, it makes me want to work harder to identify my customers and to be able to jump over any hoops that are there. Customers don't care about 7 out of 10 products in the market. They absolutely don't. They want to know your story, your reason for being, and how you can add value. But the products themselves are not what they're looking after. They are looking for brands that are long-term growth, value, and sustainable. 64% of businesses have an established value proposition. That means around 36 of us don't. So for those who are in the chat, those who are in the conversation, I want to know, what is your value proposition? What does that look and feel like? How does it work for you? What does it mean to you? Remember, this is a great time to network, a great opportunity to get to know everyone else, and more importantly, to share and shout about your business, your career, your future, and meet others around you. Great. So we've had someone else in the chat. Minaz, lovely to meet you. Work with startups and help them find money, mentors, and markets. Value proposition, something you've helped startups build. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for joining and for being with us today. Only 2.2% of companies have a useful value proposition. Again, 2.2% is not a lot in terms of percentage or growth. So it's how do we fix that? How do we change that? How do we take it forward? What can we do? Whilst I have you all in the chat already, please do, as I mentioned, give introductions, but at the same time, send questions through. We want this to be very interactive, very informative. We want to educate you and share your questions and answers as we talk through the deck itself. This is a workshop. It is absolutely not me speaking at you, because that is not helpful. A good value proposition can be read in under 5 seconds. What's yours? What are you branding yourself as? What are you branding your business as? Is it 5 seconds? Does it make a difference? What does that look and feel like for you? Your value proposition is the core of your competitive advantage. It clearly articulates why someone should want to buy from your company instead of a competitor. Is my value proposition that I've grown to a community of 35,000 without any organic spend, any advertising, any PR or press? Is it that my LinkedIn has an engagement rate of 35%, whereas the industry average is 1%? Is it that I've been dismissed from 2 out of 3 jobs for being discriminated and holding up the D&I agenda, and so I started a startup to make sure that others don't go through that same experience? Amazing. So we have Andrea, we have Mary. Thank you for your introduction. So glad that you will introduce yourself and giving your links as well. Again, this is all about networking, all about sharing, caring, and connecting. So what is the current business landscape? That's question number one. Before we can go into business, before we can go to value, what is the current business landscape? And please, I invite you to get involved in the chat. A few things that come to mind. We are remote, we are digital. We are living through a pandemic, and so our concerns and our areas of discussion have changed. There is far more interest, there is far more exposure on elements like well-being and emotional health, mental health, diversity, inclusion, business opportunities than was before. So what is it that we can be doing? What does that look and feel like to you? What is the current business landscape? The new generation of talent are coming in, and they are moving forward to say and suggest, hey, we want sustainable, we want ESG brands, we want value-led brands, we want to focus on our growth. We have a lack of disposable income due to the pandemic, and in the UK, over 2 million people being left unemployed. We have an overwhelming approach to digital media and forums, with TikTok only coming last year and blowing up campaigns of social content, Instagram Reels, and now Clubhouse being an addition. So what is the current business landscape and what does that mean for you? What is the value proposition? What do you do? Why are you different? Why shouldn't they just go with someone else? The most popular, effective way to answer all of these questions is through a killer value proposition. Simply put, it is a short sentence that summarizes your organization's offering and unique value. Hi, Liberty. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that there's so many amazing people on this forum and chat today. I'm so glad that you are all sharing your links and your next steps, which is amazing. So what a value proposition isn't. It is not an incentive. It is not a cash phrase. It is not a positioning statement. This is where people get it wrong. It is not an incentive. It's not a cash phrase. It's not a positioning statement. It is not a 20% off offer. It is not a slogan. It is not a cash phrase. Those things give value, they don't add value, they're not long-term sustainable value propositions. By you telling me it's 20% off, is that going to be there for the rest of my life? By you telling me that you are going to make my hair, you know, soft and beautiful, that is a cash phrase, that's a slogan. Is that going to be the truth? What problem are you really trying to solve, and how are you getting that across given your one-liner? What are the benefits of having a value proposition? Potential customers can understand quickly what you are having to offer and what you can offer. Creates a strong difference between you and your competitors, attracts the right prospects, improves customer understanding, and provides clarity of messaging. A strong value proposition makes it immediately clear to your customers what you offer. When I started the LMF network and when I started myself, building myself as a brand, I was super noisy, and that's the feedback I had. The feedback was, you're very noisy. The feedback is, you're all over the place. Feedback is, Sonya, we don't really know what you stand for. And so I had to take a step back. Through my network, which is a global social enterprise, I thought about doing a bit of everything, and then I toned it down. We had the largest mentoring program in the UK to accelerate careers, 600 participants across 14 countries on a 6-month digital acceleration program. That is our value proposition. Our value proposition is that we create inclusive initiatives to help you build your career, your confidence, and capability. We do that through a mentoring program, a life skills social mobility program, and a diversity and inclusion program. We have different programs for different people to make sure that we are growing and we are thriving. I want to know in the chat who here has seen the business canvas model or the business model canvas. The business model canvas is something we're going to go through, but this is the second step to that. If you haven't already, the business model canvas is a canvas which you work through to build your basic business plan. Your value proposition comes second to that. Some people said yes, some people said no. Some people are still wondering. Okay, cool. So if I was to find you one, we can go through that and we can definitely support on that. But let's talk about the value proposition before we go into the business canvas model. How to create a value proposition. Identify the customer benefits to link the benefits to value offering through differentiate yourself and position yourself. What makes you different? Why are you here? Why do you exist as a business? The business model canvas is a canvas made up of 9 basic areas which you can use as a first step in understanding your business, your model, your future, your plan. This comes before even making a business plan. I am not one to believe that a business plan comes first because most of the time business plans are outdated. Your model canvas comes first for us to know exactly what your competitive advantage is, what your value add is, who are your customers. And then you focus on your value proposition, but they are 2 different things. 54% of marketers do nothing to optimize their value propositions. Testing yours is an easy way to be more effective than roughly half of your competitors. When we are talking about value proposition, we are talking about testing and trialing. We are talking about taking an idea, putting it out into the ecosystem and seeing if it works. We are talking about failing. We are talking about failing kind, failing fast, failing stronger, and then being able to really understand what is required of us. Here are some value propositions that exist. Infusionsoft, small businesses, sales and marketing software, organized, grow sales, save time. Stripe, payment infrastructure for the internet. Whenever you're building marketplace, mobile app, online storefront, or subscription service, Stripe has the features you need. Shopify. Shopify is everything you need to sell everywhere. Basic one-liners. Any thoughts or questions about this before we move on? In terms of this workshop itself, the agenda is to run through, to educate, to inform, to be interactive, but most importantly, there's going to be homework for you to take away. We cannot on this call help to confirm your value proposition, but what we can do is we can definitely build out the various tools and frameworks you need to get there. Here is what a value proposition canvas looks like. This is one of the first things that you can use or you can fill out in order to really go forward, build your strategy, understand exactly what you need to do. Who has seen this before? Please let me know in the chat. Someone says, I have. Okay, great. Have you used it, Mary? Have you given it a try? Elijah says, first time seeing one of these, and that's fine. This is why we're here. This is why I'm here. We're going to go through a few examples that are filled out to give you an idea of what that may look like, and then I'm going to ask you for homework to take it away and do it yourself. So if we start from the right-hand side, job to be done. What is the job the customer wants to get done in their life or work, i.e. what is the problem that the customer has that they aren't able to solve? Your gains, what would make your customer happy? Your pains, what is annoying or troubling your customer? Then we look at the left side, your gain creators. What can you offer your customer to help them achieve their gains? Your pain relievers, what can you help your customer to relieve their pain? And the products or services, what are the products and services you're actually offering? So here's a great one. So Tesla, really simple. So we're going to start with the right-hand side, which is the blue Post-it notes, and then make our way to the left. So Tesla's primary customer or customer demographic tends to be an upper class male of 100K plus income. Job to be done, i.e. what does the customer want? The commute to work, personal mobility, be different from others, convey an image of success. What are some of the pains of a customer? Frequent charging, accident harm, buy before price drop, and fear of dead battery, especially with other cars that exist. What are some of the gains? What can a customer fundamentally want that can make them happy? High safety, seating, brand recognition, compliments from friends. And so what does that look like? On the left-hand side, pain relievers, 5+2 seats, charging network and charging. Gain creators, performance, focus on design and style, autonomous car, products and services, a few warranty options and various models. Really simple. That's Tesla done for you on a board. But then you have Toyota. So Toyota in this positioning is for a middle class male. Again, just stereotyping and generalizing our customer base with 50 to 75K income. What is the job they want done? Personal mobility, commute to family activities, be the same as friends, convey an image of a happy family. So what we're saying is Toyota is probably more for the family. Tesla's probably more for the individual who is either solo or does not have a young family. Pains, accident harms, fear that something happens to the car, lack of charging, gains, seating, brand recognition, very similar. But what is the end product? Toyota has done a safety sense to relieve pain and 5 seats. To gain, they have a hybrid car, an urban style and focus and confident space. And the product and services, they have various models, a manual car and a lot of options. Any questions or thoughts on this before we move forward? Someone says it seems insightful to focus on the image our product will help the customer convey. Absolutely. You have to think about what is the customer wanting? They want to convey what? Someone said they're into fitness. They want to convey the fact that they're fit, that they are body positive, that they are focusing on their health, that they are moving forward, that they are growing. Okay, how do we do that then? What does that look and feel like for us? How does it make a difference? Value proposition is one of the most important conversion factors. The number one thing visitors should see on your page. It lifts conversions and sales, or it can kill conversion and sales. Before I move on, I want to ask, are there any questions, any thoughts? Anything that anybody would like to talk through? What is your value proposition? Are you Tesla? Are you Toyota? Are you thinking about the image, the product, the pain that's going to be relieved, the gains that someone's going to have? Or are you just focusing on your end consumer and getting rich? The truth is that if you're just focusing on getting rich, then your business is not going to work the way it needs to. 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. 72% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. Majority of them are because of the lack of finances, the lack of financial planning, but most importantly, because they don't know their customer. Rather than talking on the chat, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question or get involved. This is interactive by design because we, as Iconic, really want to give you something back that you can take away tangibly, learn from, and then work on. So again, the offer of questions and chat, it's definitely there, and we want it to be there. We want to help you with what we're doing moving forward. So if you were to build your own value statement, your own value proposition, what would that look and feel like? What does that mean for you? Here's another example. So Periscope, product, live streaming video content, target market, millennials who want real-time visual content. Primary benefit, the ability to experience moments without borders. What makes it unique? Explore is a powerful word that shows users how to control the experience. What if your product is VR? What if it's AR? What does that look and feel like for your value proposition? How can you boost it within the ecosystem? Here's some other examples that exist. This is an energy and management tool through analytics. This is a VR tool. So if we're going again to the right, provide a good treatment, provide better treatment, improve patients' life. Some of the pain areas, skepticism of VR, poor quality of goggles, approval of ethic committees, some of the gains, proven legitimacy, easy to use, cinematic feel. And this is for mental health care through VR. The point is value propositions don't just exist for tangible products, they can also now exist in the digital ecosystem. And that's why one of the first questions was, what does the business landscape look like right now? Because it's changing. And it looks very different to what it was before. And so if it does, how are you staying in tune? How are you staying updated? What are you doing moving forward? Again, these questions are for you to answer, for you to reflect, for you to get back on. Here's another one. This is a AR company. These examples exist. They are here to support you, but also to show that even if you are an AR or VR company, you still have enough focus, enough work. So we spoke about the business model canvas, and I would like to introduce you to the lean canvas founded by Ash Maurya. The business model canvas, or the business canvas model, depending on how you say it, is a larger scope of life than this. But what Ash has done is he's compelled it into a really short, simple exercise. And what he means by this is you should be able to do this in 20 minutes. So for those on the chat, for those in this participating, if I was to say, you don't have 20 minutes, you have 2 minutes, tell me, summarize your problem in 3 ways. Give me your top 3 solutions, your key metrics. What is your cost structure? What is your revenue stream? What is your customer target? What would your answers be? And I know some of you haven't done this before, you haven't thought about it, and that's why we're here. We're here to do it together. So please, any questions, any thoughts? Anyone want to unmute themselves and give this a go together with me? Feel free to do so. There is no judgment, there is no negative approach. It is about working together as a community and supporting one another. Anyone want to unmute? Someone says, how would you handle a product that I haven't started building? I've got an idea that fills a gap, but not sure what people want. Great, great, great question. So my first step for you is to do this lean canvas model so that you can get your information down on paper. The second is to do your version of the value proposition canvas to identify what you think exists. But the third and the most important is to bring both of those two into a survey, a focus group, some kind of data mining approach, and then go out to people to ask them exactly what they want and what they're looking for. That's how you can take it forward. That's how you can build something that is actually customer led. What I did in the beginning, when I started my network, which then soon transformed into a business, we went from a brunch to business model in 18 months, is I didn't ask anyone. I assumed they liked brunch. I assumed they were female. I assumed they wanted to talk about their careers, their confidence, their capabilities. And turns out for the first 3 events I hosted, no one showed up because I was just assuming on their behalf. I took a step back. I did polls, I did questionnaires, I did surveys using tools like Instagram, LinkedIn, Zoom. and found out who they were, what they want, and what they're focused on, and then took it back into the ecosystem, designed and delivered a product and a program that makes sense and took it forward. It's never too late to confirm your target market, to confirm your customers. So does anybody want to do this in 2 minutes together whilst your colleagues and community support you? Or do you want to take it away? Do it and then drop me a message so I can support you and go through it with you. That's completely fine too. One of the examples that I want to go through is Uber London. I'm sure you all know Uber. So the problem is it's difficult to find a cab when you need it. Mini cabs are often booked. You never know who's driving the mini cab. Black cabs are expensive and mostly they don't accept card. Existing alternatives, public transport, black cabs, and own means of transport. What is the solution? Uber wanted to provide a guaranteed fast pickup car. They wanted you to know the driver, the rating, the car plate, and the advance model, and pay a reasonable price directly from the app so it's automatic. The key metrics, how are you going to measure the success and the rate of success? Remember, your measure of success is different to your competitors. Apps installs, accounts created, journeys booked. What is the value proposition? We allow Londoners to get from A to B in comfortable, safe, and reasonably priced ride by hailing a car through a one-click app. Amazing. What is the unfair advantage? Now, this means compared to Uber, compared to the kind of total, what is the unfair advantage? They already have 40K drivers across the world. There's already a brand awareness amongst adults. What are the channels that they're using to get the word out? PR, referrals, and outdoor events. What are their customer segments? Young professionals in London and tourists. What is the cost structure? Now, cost structure means what are you paying for? What is your revenue going into? Infrastructure and development, marketing, PR, and legal costs, drivers, recruitment, and management. And what is the revenue stream? 25% of fare based on route and idle time. That is Uber summed up the lean canvas model. Does anyone disagree? Does anyone agree? Any comments, let me know. Great questions come in. What if I'm building a product that does not necessarily meet a need, but assume if I build, people want it? Will be a recommendation of speaking to the customers? Absolutely. What you do then is you build an MVP. That's what I did. I assumed people needed it. I didn't really know. I built an MVP and you trial and test it. You have interactive iterations. You fail a lot so you can learn and you can grow. That is the power and the beauty of upgrading, of innovation, of evolution, of technology. You build focus groups. You talk to people within the ecosystem. You let them know what you're after and what they're doing. At some point, you're going to want to have to go out and ask your customers if they really want it. That point doesn't have to be today, but at some point, it's going to need to happen. You just have to figure out when that right point is and what that looks and feels like for you. But what I want to repeat, and I want to repeat constantly, is what you are building and what you do is not the same and will not be the same as your competitors, your customers, and other variables. The reason for that is for no more than, oh, sorry, I think my thing messed up. Can you still see my screen? Yes, okay, well, it stopped on my side, so give me 1 second whilst I get it back up. That's really weird. Okay, cool. So yeah, so as we're saying, at some point you're gonna have to ask your customers, you're gonna have to bring them in, especially if you want it to work. That doesn't have to be today. That definitely has to be at some point so you can make it. And this is where we head on to. So great question, cool segue. The process of starting a business. The old approach is an elaborate plan, an upfront investment, intuition. The new approach is experimentation, feedback, proceed or pivot. There's no right or wrong. It's relevant, there's clarity. There's consistency, there's constantly. There's customers, there's connectivity. And there's actually asking people what they want. That makes a big difference. But this is the new way of building a business. The whole kind of old business plan, 25 pages, go out and seek investment approach does not work. I want to see an MVP. I want to see you fail and fail and fail, but I want you to prove to me that you've at least tried, even if you failed. That's completely fine. But I want to know what you haven't been able to achieve so that we can start finding the areas in which you can achieve. A customer value proposition is a promise of potential value that a business delivers to its customers. In essence, is the reason why a customer would choose to engage with a business. It explains how it solves a problem. It improves the customer situation, the specific value against the customer's needs and difference to competitors. That is what we are talking about. That's why we're here. That is the customer value proposition. You have to get into the mindset as a business owner that you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get tired. Sometimes it's not going to work out, but every time it doesn't work out, it brings you closer to something that is going to work out. And that's what this conversation is about. That's what we're here for. That's what we're looking into. That's the difference that we're making. And here's how you can build a customer chart, a customer demographic. Little picture of me in the middle. So imagine I'm your primary customer. Who am I? Right? That's your first thing. Who am I? Who am I? Who do I look like? Why do I exist? You have thought about your value proposition. You have done the lean canvas model. You have given it a stab. You've even failed. Okay, but who is your customer really? And why do they exist? Is your customer a, late 20s, diversity in business kind of, coach who is focused on personal development and growing, who has who wants to connect with community, who wants to be seen as a business influencer, who wants to use her voice for social good? What are some of the pains? New to business, building the ecosystem, doesn't have TikTok, has an Android can't be on Clubhouse. What are my motivations? Equality, representation, diversity, inclusion, mental health, entrepreneurship, confidence, community. What am I reading on social media habits? So I'm currently writing a book. But does that mean that your end user is someone who reads? Do they use Instagram? Do they use LinkedIn? Do they use Twitter? Are they not on social media? Are they of a different age? Are they of a different experience? What does that customer look like to you? Who is your customer? Even if it's an idea, I need you to write that down. I need you to point it down. You're obviously going to be sent this. Feel free to keep me as an image. Feel free to change it, whatever suits you best. But what does that look and feel like for you? Again, let's open up the conversation. Any questions, any thoughts? We have about 7 minutes left. Great questions come in. So whilst I'm starting my business, I don't know if I should keep it authentic to myself or make it one that the audience wants and fit on that. What I would say is have an A/B test. Now, what that means is you have an authentic art to yourself, you have an art which is desired or wanted by your consumer base, and ask people. Simple, do a poll. Have both items on, websites like Amazon and Etsy, Depop, eBay, and see which one sells more. Maybe work with focus groups, work with communities like mine. We have a community of over 35,000. We are always asking for people to get involved in return for maybe a competition. So maybe you say, Sonya, I want 30 people to fill out this sample, be in a focus group, and each of them will get a discount code. One of them will get an art piece. I'm happy to do a collaboration. That's the kind of energy you need to take out. That's the kind of energy all businesses need to take out. There are people who are waiting to give feedback. Ask them what they want. And at the same time, when you're asking them, you're staying true to your authentic self, because you're still giving them options. You're reminding them of why you've done it, and they're getting to know you, and maybe it's the you that they're after. Fundamentally, a value proposition to be able to influence new employees, motivate existing employees, engage with customers, support the business goal and plans. This is offline, online, community, and influencers. It also leads into your marketing. It leads into your strategy. It leads into what you want to do in the future. When you have an online proposition, you have 6 C's to think about: your content, customization, community, convenience, choice, and cost reduction. How are you reducing costs for your consumers? What content are you sharing that's valid to your value proposition and makes it really clear as to what you do? Are you customizing the experience? Who is your community? What do they look and feel like? Are you increasing your community because you can put £10,000 worth of digital advertising? Because personally, I don't think that's fair. I don't think you can build a community just by constantly putting forward advertising and advertising, because that's not real organic growth. Or is it? One of my value adds, and the thing that we are the most proudest of, we've built a community forum with no expenditure, with no ad spend, with no digital marketing in 2 years. At the same time, the beginning of 2020 Jan, our Instagram and Facebook got hacked, so we had to start from again, scratch. At the same time, at Jan 2021, our website domain got hacked and a bot stole it, so we had to completely rebrand. We've gone from like-minded females to LMF network. We've had to delete our old Instagram that had 5,500 following and start from scratch. We've had to work on it through the forums that already exist and build it to where we are now. How to test, and this goes to the question that was asked before: A/B testing, pay-per-click, word-of-mouth referrals, forest groups, freemium models. We currently have a freemium model for our mentoring program. It's absolutely free, but we've had 600 participants. Next year, when we relaunch, we're going to ask participants to at least give a deposit or an investment, no more than £10 a month, but £60 towards mentoring is not a lot of money in hindsight, but it's great for your career growth, for your goals. And what does that mean for us? Even if we get 100 people, that's £6,000 that we can use that we didn't have before. That's going to cover Zoom, it's going to cover team, it's going to cover the design and delivery. A/B test, do a pilot, see what works. And in terms of the last slide, when you have a business, these are the 6 things to focus on. Hypothesize. That's where you start your business idea. I'm hypothesizing. I'm thinking they think it. I'm thinking they need it. I don't really know. Research. You research through filling out the tasks that we've spoken about, or you lead focus groups, community forums, A/B tests. You implement, you give it a go. Let's just give it a go. Pilot. It's called Innovation Labs, iteration. Every 6 weeks, you're going to give something new a go and see if it works. You then evaluate. Has it worked? Has it not worked? Okay, this is something we can change. Let's move it forward. You innovate that, and then you decide if you're going to proceed or pivot. 2020 was all about pivoting. Companies went from offline to online. It didn't mean it worked. By no means it didn't. We did the same. I did the same for my network. I also launched a business. It didn't work. Companies weren't ready. So it was about building your approach, taking a step back, having some content ready, making sure that you are constantly evolving and improving as your business, as your customer base is too. Why am I here, the one telling you this? Because in 18 months, I've taken a branch to a successful business. We have launched in the UK as well as Canada and launched our first university society. We have gained a grant this year as well as sponsorship and funding, and working with 6 global brands to launch our mentoring program. Outside of that, in 2020, despite starting my business then, I've designed and delivered over 200 workshops. I've won 4 awards. I started a podcast called Strategically Winging It in May because I had no income and no one wanted to work with me due to budget cuts. And by July, that podcast, which is not the best podcast in the world, but it's great conversation, was picked up by a publisher who then wanted to publish my book. And now I have a book coming out. All of that has been based on testing, trialing, assuming, evolving, evaluating, and then identifying if you're going to proceed or you're going to pivot. That's why I'm here, to say if I can do it, you absolutely can do it, and that there should be no fear. I know there's a couple of fear comments in this chat: fear of starting, fear of building, fear of going forward. What do you have to lose? That's my question, is what do you have to lose? I think absolutely nothing. Ironically, I failed so much in 2019. I now have a TED talk on failure. It's called Failure Comes with Resilience. It builds that muscle. It makes you stronger. You're more Okay with bullshit. I'm like, do you know what? I'm a business person. Cool, it's going to happen, but how am I going to deal with it? I know I'm going to take it forward. And if you're interested in the book that I've mentioned, my book is finally live for pre-orders. It doesn't have a cover yet though, so interesting. But it's available on Amazon, Unprepared to Entrepreneur, a method of through the madness of starting your own business. And this is why we're here. This is what we're doing. It is literally an 11-chapter book where you start from the beginning, you will go to the end, and I can guarantee and promise you, you will have a successful business, or you will come to the conclusion that you don't ever want to be a business owner. And either one is good, but at least you know. For an investment in £15, it's not a lot of investment, knowing that you're either going to flow and succeed or you're not. It's also filled with over 30 interviews and success business stories, not from people who have wealth or money, but those side hustlers, those leaders that come from absolutely nothing and have a clear representation in terms of demographics that exist within the ecosystem. It is a book for you, for the community who wants to start a business, like everyone in this chat today, who feels that they don't know the story, they don't know how, they don't know when, they don't know why, they don't know what, but they know that they just want to succeed. Here's how you can succeed, and we can succeed together. So what are some of the things you have for homework? 1 is to fill out the business model canvas or the lean canvas. 2 is to identify your value proposition. And 3 is to use my little format of a customer demographic and plug and play in that and see who your customer may be. Then you go out, you implement, you evaluate, you innovate, and you decide after a 6-month period if you're going to pivot or you're going to proceed. But what I do want to say, you want to give it minimum 6 months before you make any decision, because you're going to need 6 months to identify if that is the way you want to go forward, if that works for you, and if it's going to make a difference. Any questions before we stop? I know we are now out of time, but I just want to say, if you connect with me on my LinkedIn, you can follow. I work closely with LinkedIn, so I now have a follow button, and you can connect with me on Instagram and Twitter. Yes, so I've had a suggestion. Can I see the listed business model canvas again? Absolutely. I'm just going through it. So it's called Lean Canvas Model, and the business model canvas. If you Google it online, it will come up.